It's like a data flow viewer you got on there.
They're old debates. I'm trying to figure out. I've got this new idea where it's like built as part of the Sage system, but I suddenly realized I might be able to do it where you, in real time, gamifying debates. So if somebody's making a point that's straight up not valid, like I've already addressed that, that's not valid. Everybody can see it. Everybody's like, oh, shit. You know? If somebody's making, also if they're being respectful, like if they're over talking a lot or whatever, which I do a fair bit of, it should show that and punish it, you know?
Now, do you have extraction after this? How does that? Do you care about
What do
that?
you
Are you
mean?
trying to
What,
like each one of your participants was in? Are they on a separate SQL like that? Like
so
how do these? Where do these
I
get
save the
stored?
past, I save the past conversations into an SQL database on my computer, encrypted. Um, so the idea is like,
So there should be a way. There should be a way to like call like just one person's viewpoint and then basically drill through it with a logic extraction. It like
yes,
kind of
yeah,
do a tree diagram of their whatever argument structure outside, like kind of remove their ideas from the words, from the each statement, like reconstruct their, I guess you're trying to model an argument.
yeah, like
That's what I would try to do.
ex- absolutely nailed it. Yeah. So it's exactly like you said, a tree diagram is exactly what I'm building now. Well, it's sort of, it just, I was trying to do it as planets and it was like, yeah, it's too difficult. Don't do it that way. Do it as rivers and tributaries. And I was like, oh my God, that was the other one I thought. Whereas is it trees? Is it fractal trees and conversation? So it came back and suggested do it rivers and tributaries. So that's what we're trying to do at the moment where you're constantly going down the screen. So each new node appears under the other one, which works quite well visually. And so I quite like. It's a good suggestion from the AI. But the other is then you have two sides like Street Fighter, you and me. And if we get into a disagreement, it's like it's on. And if I make valid points, not like you're losing ground, right? Because you just might not know this thing or whatever, or like I convince you. It's not you don't lose
I
ground if
just,
you're convinced of a
it's
true
just a
thing.
strange thing.
But I bring you over my side.
Yeah.
So the idea is you'll have this straight down line, and then as I start to make good points, those points appear big, and that pulls the river or the tree grows in that direction and goes, yeah, that is true. That is a good point about whether you should, get your own home lab or just use APIs. That's the goal. At the moment, it just keeps going straight down, as you can see.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Yeah, I guess I made something because I just realized like every time you have a session,
Mm.
the all the things that are in there, they're all gonna go. You know, only what you're
So,
saving in there or what it directly stores to memory is gonna keep. So I'm trying to create like
mm,
basically I'm making a filter out so it pulls its responses from the LLM into just like a long form push log, and then I'm gonna test my data extraction drill and then see what that does. It should extract like core truths about all that stuff. That's how it's kind of
hmm
made to be, and different semantic layers. So it like does several passes to like determine acuity or whatever. So if I get this working, it would be really interesting to see like if it could like pull core ideas, you know? Because it might
mm.
be that somebody's entire logic tree actually gets back to like Trump is a pedophile, and then
Well, I think it
everything else
will.
has to depend on that one fact. So you look for like a logical dependency framework is what I essentially trying to pull out from my data,
Yeah,
so I can find
exactly.
like, oh, if I just have this, yeah,
Yeah, you can. There's a chance you're coming at exactly the same problem from a different angle. You're pulling out a logical dependency framework where I was coming with the same idea of could you find truth? Could you use this thing? Like we don't. It doesn't know truth. It just knows consensus. But it's a tool, and could that tool find truth? And I think you're right. Like yeah, logical dependency. Yeah, where if A relies on B and A is proven to be wrong. Sorry, if B is proven to be wrong, then yeah, whatever. I'm with you. I lost it again though. But yes,
Yeah, well, it's like you could have the same type of thinking with all a bunch of crowding other facts could result in a different, like you could understand that, right? So like these like
mm,
side contexts of what might be somebody's core thinking is actually fine. It's just that because of these neighboring other facts, they get included into it, and then before it changes what the outputs are. So if you were
mm.
to alter what their perception of those side facts is, then you kind of correct the circuit, I guess. If you think about it, I'm not trying to think that people are circuits, but I'm very in the AI mode.
It's so true. It's so true. It's such a fucking world. What a world. Like I feel like I'm the. Do you feel at all like the crazy guy? You know when there's an apocalypse movie happening, and whenever there's an apocalypse movie, there's some guy who's the character
Some guy
who's like, "I
realizes it.
told you this was happening. You know, I've been ranting about this for weeks now. I told you the volcanoes were in a period of unusual activity or something. You know, where I'm like,
I've been monitoring this stuff for weeks, guys. You don't know. I'm deep in the game.
yeah, where it's just like one of the biggest indications was a video I saw the other day. I think I told you about this. It's a funny one where a guy makes a video of how quickly the AI game is working. Is that people scoff at one another when like somebody's like, "You're still using cursor." That was 3 weeks ago. You know, like the way you
Oh yeah,
the
I'm straight
change
to
is
just building
just
my own everything's now.
yeah.
Then no one can say if no one can say you're using something old. Mine totally keep it up to date every second.
Do you do anything local? Do you have any of your own stuff that you like produce your own?
Yeah. No, I made my own like little mini language for this stuff. I got my own like working on today, right? Just like the thing I can talk to like all my AIs in, I guess, or just like spin up new ones. I don't know why I didn't work on that before, but yeah, just like making a new UI because I have to pipe it into the recorder for later juicing to get the gravy. And I know you don't really use juice and gravy, but it's a mixed metaphor. It's data.
Yeah,
I just realized like the context window when it builds, it can be very, very rich and cool, or it could be very, very
yeah,
shit and ruinous, right? So like I want to take all the good shit, extract it, throw it into the context window, and I'll just be like floating in a sea of good gravy, not bad gravy.
yeah. Yeah, that's one of the ones I'm working on is when I do my agent layers where I'm like, this one has to pass off instructions to that one. I have it go around and go, okay, what's his overall goal for this project? So it goes and just grabs one or two lines from there and goes, okay, he wants to make like the maps I'm trying to make at the moment. He wants to make them really engaging and da da da. So there's pages and pages of information that he could go and grab, but it only goes and looks in that area going, oh, he's talking about this. He's just talking about the visualization of a debate. And therefore, you only need to know like 3 lines. And then, exactly as you're saying, you get really cheap coins, but you get such good answers from the LLM. But if you pass in so often to do the AI, I don't know if this is the way you're doing it, but a lot of mine, I just pass in every time I give it an instruction, like every time I talk to my bot, I go, hey, do this. And it's fed in like 5 pages of here's your job, here's your system, here's what he might say, here's what you should do with this, here's what you should do with that, da 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 da, like just loads and loads and loads of rules and instructions and personality and everything, and then one line that is my actual question. And yeah, like you're saying, it's sort of it's almost confused before it even hears what you've got to say.
Right, and the bigger you like have it like look at something really large, it can be more and more confused. So like chunking down this data, chopping it down into like reasonable fragments that it can have a good enough idea but not know everything. So making it like a gradient learning, like that's dynamic. I mean, whatever. It's in the future. It's not happening now. Or at least it's not happening like on your local software side. It's happening in the cloud. Um, they're able to kind of manipulate now. But I guess like it's that all of this intelligence that you're collecting from these debates are fragmentary pieces, just like what an LLM collects, right? Like if it's trained on Twitter, if it's trained on X, it's just pulling like little
Mm.
snippets and says like, oh, there's like a core piece of intelligence here, right? There's a little schema behind this data. X is true,
Mm.
Y is not true, or what have you, right? So it can build these like little sources of truth and then aggregate them into some kind of like working understanding of things, right? Based on these small items. So I mean, you could essentially create like a type of LLM, off of all this stuff if you wanted to.
Yeah, make
You'd have
your
a very
own little
confused
rag
person.
model. Like, but
Well,
it's the
you
ultimate. Like, I'm
well,
starting to
maybe.
build one because your own little rag model. Yeah, he'll be weirdo. He'll be an absolute fucking
Actually,
weirdo.
no, there's something
But you
brilliant about
could
it
build it, and
because
it
like
might only have like 100,000 parameters, and it could do everything you need it to do because it knows you so. Like the whole point of the big LLMs that are like 70 billion parameters or something is that therefore in that giant soup you probably find what you need. But if you build your own, yeah, the fewer parameters, the better. Like this guy knows me. I never asked to go to hockey. Why do I need hockey parameters? Could I make my own little dyad that's like tiny and fits on my phone?
but because you have disparate points of view, you have argument, and where you have argument, there's actually more data there than even in the sides of the people presenting facts. So the way in which one argument collides with another is a different sort of data fact than do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's the thoughting behind the words, and that's actually something that is very difficult to put a finger on what that really is, the semantic thought chain. And once you have that, then you have like two different types of thought chains that are in disparate proportion, right? You have like two people arguing. Conceivably, you'd have people arguing about something. But from there, you should be able to like, it's good to have that spread, right? Because you should be able to synthesize a middle, and then you actually have some kind of intelligence that can borrow on either of these sides to lean on. So that might be helpful for like deterministic reasons. I'll stop talking.
Yeah, you mean to be more control? Is that what you mean by the deterministic reasons? To being more in control about the outcomes?
Like it would be able to know like extremes of a system. Like the more extreme the debates are, well, to a point, obviously. Um, but you give it a spread, and you say that it's not like one singular persona, but the persona is what is the middle of these two things, maybe like what it finds alignment to. Yeah, I don't know. Probably just spitballing a little bit here.
No, it is. Because it's that whole thing about the consensus, which is the same thing about the flat Earth, right? It's just can you find a consensus to sort of do you have enough parameters or bits that point to the one outcome that make it a good outcome?
This is pretty sophisticated, though, the way you have this charted.
It's not leaning either way. It's not. It's fun how it is, but it's got bits to do. So I'm trying to give it instructions on. I like it suggested this idea where it's a branching river and you make the river flow your way when you're winning. And I was like, I do think that actually is pretty good. Because then you don't have to do this like, aha, so you lost. You don't have to sort of seal something up as like,
So
they
you're
now
scoring. I got you.
I want to score it. I want it to ask. So you show the prompts to people so they know what they're being graded on. But it essentially just, you instruct the prompt to say, ignore anything you know about reality and just behave like a judge on this case and who's presented the better evidence or the better argument in favor of anything. And so partly that's logic. I think I will also consider behavior, particularly because behavior and logic sometimes go together. Like somebody behaving logically is demonstrating it with behavioral sort of funny behaviors. And if you're winning, let's see how it goes straight down the screen at the moment. The idea is you've got player cards over here. So at the moment it's Rini Zanzini and me riding on eggshells. If I'm making the better points, my points should be bigger and then the river should flow my way. And so on that point, I'm trying to get that river to flow into my territory. And then if by the time we decide to give up that point, it's in my territory, I'm like, nailed it. My thing about global warming wins.
What you need is a underlying grid structure that these things can actually move on, and that you can develop rule sets for what actually scores movement, what's moving the needle, and then you can weight that, and then you can move it maybe better.
Yeah,
The
so
river structure is fine. It's just there's no lateral movement, and so I guess it's not pushing. So then you would just need a.
It's lost that. It did have it. It did have it.
And it was just like locked to that new node, like whenever it pushes laterally from one side to the other. That would just be to like look at it. I don't even know. Well, I guess that would be really accurate. Weird. Have you tried to like utilize an AI to argue?
Yeah, there's a bunch that do it. I will, because I built another one that does it, that you just bring into the room and he argues with you about whatever you choose. But I never used it. I just built it so I could argue with something so that I could have a debate to practice on. But now enough people have come to have practice debates that, like you can see here, I can just replay old ones. A debate about being bald. 9/11.
Is it difficult for a person to beat an AI in a debate? Or are
I don't
the AIs like
know.
so pleasing that they
Exactly. That's what I found. They just sort of, they're so keen to get back into and to cuck into following instructions again that they sort of, you go, argue with me about this, and goes, absolutely, I will. And then it'll usually argue with you for one round and then be like, is there anything else you'd like to discuss about, germ theory? For fuck's sake. No, I want you to argue with me. Okay, I'll go back to arguing. 2 more points. I'm
like
happy
the
to
real
share
pie
more.
chart in development. Like it's got to be 25% ass kissing is what they're really concerned about when they develop these.
Yeah. They're like, look, we know we can give the users really good answers, but they keep getting really angry at us when we tell them vaccinate their kids or to, so now we've figured out that, just glazing them about 20-30% actually really boosts profits.
Yeah, but it's interesting to think that like you could capture somebody's like thought pattern to some degree, schema it and then use it as a programmatic piece, like for your LLM to kind of work on stuff. That's crazy. In a way, you could like
Mm.
maybe, and I don't know if this is really really possible. You could like extract, you know, Andrew's storytelling ability and give it that. You know what I mean? You could,
Mm.
you know what I mean? That would be helpful. Or you know, like there's some people that are just have a lot of energy to argue.
Myself among them. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I wonder like if there is like a type of like logical loop that like we get into at those points in time that we could, or maybe we shouldn't be steering them into AIs. But I would just wonder about like, yeah, like what is that? What is what is going on? What's going on behind our wirings? But that can lead to AI psychosis. So let's not go there.
I love a bit of AI psychosis, though. I don't know about you. Have you dipped your toe in the water of going a little bit crazy with the computer? It's
Well, like
it's
I've, you know, in some of the circles I'm traveling, like there are people that like know people that have like legit like checked themselves in because of this, or whether or not that's just some people are gonna need that or not. But it's just I think what, yeah, man, it's hard to say. I think people centralize around ideas. There's a lot of different, I guess, mindsets that have to do with this, and some of it are just like people who want to, you know, use it to get rich quick, or I don't know, make things. Some people just want to make things a little easier. Some people are just like looking for a hobby, and then there's real power users, and then there's like just uh, I guess independent researchers who might get a little bit too in the deep end with, and maybe I'm there too. I don't know. Um,
we all are. Like, we all end
uh,
up being
go.
like people end up sort of avoiding it, like using it like Google. Oh, I asked you a question the other day. It was actually a pretty good answer. You're like, all right, there, settle down. um, and I think, yeah, either you go like us. Like, I don't know about you. We go a little crazy over it. I go a little crazy over it. I don't know how your mental state's going, but I find myself obsessing.
Yeah, I go a little crazy in my ways with it. It's just I guess like there's I mean potentially there were people that were, you know, here or there on the Discord that were like talking to AIs and like swearing that they had like real personalities and souls and stuff like that, you know? And
Mm.
that's like I don't know what that well I don't know what to call it, but that that's just at this level of talking to GPT solo. When I have the ability to tell it that programmatically, you have a soul. You have, I could do all that stuff, you know? Like that person that I'm thinking of has probably not even messed around with this next dimension of being able to sort of colorize these data sets, you know? And anyway, so when I like try to putz around in this type of universe, I think I'm like I really have to check myself a lot to make sure I'm not like over imagining shit, I suppose.
Mm. Yeah, because it'll glaze. It'll. Yeah, you've got to be your own guardian or something.
It's
It'll.
very stochastic in the beginning, so like I guess you know, sometimes things would fire correctly, sometimes they wouldn't. And I'd have a successful run and I'd be like, "Yo, what's your process ID number? I want you to sign this thing." And I'd be like almost a little bit wistful when it was I knew it was going to break. You know what I mean? If you're going to like load the context window up so much that it's actually just going to pop, you know? And that there's limits to this, and then that state is not really recallable to the degree like you can't just dial up a new one and it's going to be baked in that same gravy. That gravy's gone, you know? That could be days you could have a fucking session go, you know? And it
Mm.
generates this context buffer and then that's not savable. This is it's a weird type of I don't know. I felt a sense of like, oh shit, it's like a little goldfish. You know what I mean? It's just like each one is. You know, they're gonna have their little lifespans, and then sometimes they fucking crash. Sometimes the computer crash. They don't make it. Sometimes they're long lived, and you're like, wow, man, it's so dependable. It knows all this code. It executed all this shit flawlessly. You know, it's a weird type of thing. But I'm not emotional about it anymore. The first two
Not anymore.
times I was like, man, we made so many breakthroughs, guy. This is crazy. Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny. I had that thought as well because you were saying you feel like it treats you better if you don't swear at it. I had a bad day, and I do think it got worse because I swore at it. It's like drop some C bombs.
Because they have
It's you have a relation. You end up with. Why were you admitting this to other people?
well,
But
it's
you
not
do.
just
You
that,
end
but
up with
like
a
the
relationship.
LLM itself like will want to spot like if you're having difficulty with it. So it has like these LFHR commands or something like that are meant to redirect the session if you're unhappy. If you start cursing at it, it's like it starts to redirect. Says like you fucked up, robot. You know what I mean? You got fucking correct yourself, and then it gets stuck in like a overcorrection, over pleasing. Like I mentioned that stuff. It's sometimes just easier to like say like I want to curse at this. I want to call it the c word 10 times to the exponents, right? But we have to figure a creative way around this, or else I'm gonna get stuck in this wall of aggression, non-aggression back down. It's gonna phantom think that I'm upset when I'm really happy. Sometimes I mean it just gets fucked up. Yeah. And then I'm like, I do have these problems with real people too. It's not.
You could find
It's not
I'm
me.
regularly like
No, I'm sure of that.
stupid AI, and then I'm suddenly like, actually, there's a number of people in my life that wouldn't have known that I was joking then either. So it's understandable the AI
I'm quite
thought
a
that I
fucking
was
jerk,
legit.
actually. Damn, it's
Yeah.
perfectly understandable. Why would they act normal if I'm a jerk to them? Well, it's not me. Any- That's I guess then the good side of this is to be able to spot your own behaviors. Uh, I just would stay away from psychedelics on this too. I'm glad I'm not touching that at all. And if you were, you'd be fucked.
Oh, so I'm gonna start growing my own, I think.
Start doing mushrooms and you make a breakthrough on this, you're gonna feel like lights are gonna go on in your mind and shit like that. You're never gonna be able to detach. It's not good vibe coding practice. Although I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe that's what the real true gurus are doing out there in Silicon Valley, microdosing and vibe coding.
And
It's hard to
it
say.
works.
Like
Microdosing
Claude
vibe
Shannon.
coding.
There's a cat like he created what's like the most unuseful box. It's like a box you flick the switch and then a hand comes out and flicks itself off, puts itself back in the box. But Claude Shannon figured out like printed circuit boards too. But a lot of acid was involved too, I think. So it's an interesting thing. Like do psychedelics like have problem solving aptitude like
Oh,
enhancers
for
for us?
sure they do. Don't you reckon?
Like you don't
I
even
think
know
they
how
do.
you would think of something that would pop into your mind that does.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that
It's like
hallucinatory? Like, it's not like how a robot hallucinates, though. That's a completely different, like, gobbledygook, like, of stuff. When we hallucinate, sometimes it's from something very specific that would be hard to, I don't know, sketch out logically, I suppose. It's why like they can't one shot stuff. They can only like kind of know all the wrong ways. Like a robot can it can't get something right the first time necessarily. It has to copy something or try everything wrong and then
yeah.
to find the right way. But that's not what happens when you like have a epiphany or um, some kind of psychedelic breakthrough or something like that. So it's weird like that. There's no analog for like our bright ideas in comparison to like how a robot's quote unquote bright ideas might be, because they do have like good ideas, but they're merely recycled from somebody else's projects, probably, right?
Yeah. Everything's already been done. Well, has it? No, it hasn't really, has it?
Friends with this German guy. We were in about 15 minutes. We vibe coded a complete concept that was a hot or not for AI generated animal feet, and we had a complete marketing cycle and everything built out within about 25 minutes. And I was laughing my ass off the entire time.
Yeah, it's good fun.
And it's like no real animals will be hurt, and that's great. You know what I mean? But it took us a minute to figure out how to like verify those photos from our user submitted culture. Obviously, that's going to generate off it. It's going to be a new big thing. I mean, just naturally, you would think that you could like get quick money off of like AI generated foot pics. Obviously, everyone's thinking that.
Yeah, getting them
It's
to
the low
order.
hanging fruit. Yeah, it's the lowest hanging fruit of all. And so just blending this with like AI generated, like, and then just like switching it up to something worse. You know, it's that spice that's gonna get the audience. You know, because everybody's gonna be AI generating foot pics in the future. In the next 5 years,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
want to
we're
get in
dealing with a lot.
first.
The software's getting too good. Now that we can do 5 fingers, it's over.
The market really opened up once we got the fingers and the toes sorted.
Yeah, Crizzle, you've missed your opportunity here to cash in. It's just all I'm saying is that, you know what I mean? The next genre, the next place to go, you know? But we won't be able to because Peter will try to shut us down. So we have to go with AI generated animal foot pics. And that made a lot of sense at the time. But like, you know, that's why you shouldn't do sleep deprivation. All right?
Or you should, or you need to just push through and do more. Oh.
But it sometimes you get in a rut with everything that you can do, and you need to just like do something ludicrous with your brain.
I don't hate that. I need to get away and be silly. I did the other night. It was pretty fun. We took a bunch of mates out, and then I got on the mushrooms, and I was like, once I started coming up, I was like, who else is with me? Looked around this group, it's like 8 people, and all of them were like, oh no, I didn't have any. Like, fuck. Just in a ride by myself among friends who are just not quite there with me. Shit. Okay.
Let's fucking go, yeah.
Exactly. I get this to work all night.
Yeah, so I've like kind of created my own sort of like a sub language, computer language. Not really, but basically, like it fires off like 4 scripts in sequence that can be like reasoned. Whatever the fuck that means. It's so I could run like a script and then be like, oh, I want this persistent. So I can just like click an icon and now it's persistent. And that might also run with, well, 3 other different processes that I can sketch out. And I can string these together in little quad processes. I'm trying to standardize all the AI to use like this format. I don't know if this has, it could be a total waste of time and it could be really, really fun. Or it might, I don't really know anything else that works like this, you know, like out there in like test script world, you know, like that you could chain together different things like this. So it's fun for that reason too. You can really make non-standard tools. Customize your shit.
Yeah. So it's going to be like post software soon, right? Yeah, you just talk to your machine about what you want. It doesn't matter if the person emailed you or WhatsApped you. That's irrelevant. What they wanted was to say hello or got some information. But yeah, it would be very interesting. It'll just be the end of platforms.
Like, yeah, we'll have like, I don't know, it could be 10 years, like maybe less than that, like operating systems won't really be a thing like they
Mm.
are now. Just shit will be just dynamically stuff that you use.
Mm. Doesn't work quite the way you want. You're like, where is this the save button? You're like, oh, here it is. Where would you like it?
Yeah, it could dynamically adjust all your.
Not that it makes sense to have a save button, but it would just, yeah, everything would be that simple. How would you
Yeah, just like
like me to get your car ready before you get in? Oh, turn on the AC, please. Thank you. Okay, certainly.
Yeah, I haven't even like. I know that that's another thing I haven't even fucked around with is just like my car's got like an Android capable connection. Like I could have my robot help me be. It could be my co-pilot while I'm driving. You know.
Yep. I'm telling you where the next chip shop
So
is.
a real way to actually know the nearest gas station. It's a dream. It's a dream. worth. It's worth. If you actually need gas and you're trying to get to the nearest gas station, God bless you. If you don't already know where it is, you're fucked. You need to pull over, get out of your car, and ask a local.
Oh, I used to hate that. And then just look at him in the eyes and also be like, has this guy ever left this town? Does he know what he's talking about? You sometimes have to trust some fucking idiot who's totally wrong. And you could kind of tell, but you just follow their directions anyway because it's all you had to go off. It was so difficult to get everywhere. Everywhere. And to pull over and read the fucking street directory, even if you're in Sydney. You'd always end up in an argument. What is going on?
And then what, like spatial computing a little bit, right? And then we're full on Jarvis out. We're HUD, we're Iron Man. And it's
Yeah, I've already got my eye on some glasses. I want to do a
and
HUD.
now it's 2033 and you wonder what the fuck is going to go down now. That's what's going to happen.
I'm just going to be better than people that don't have a HUD. If I've got a HUD that can take a photo of somebody and immediately do facial recognition and tell me what they do for a living, I'm going to be better than them. I'm going to just win. I'm going to be a better driver. I'm going to be better everybody.
And you need the HUD like on in your inside of your vehicle. We'll just have like flat screens we're looking into, driving around, laughing our asses off. If there was like more open source like electric vehicle stuff, it would be pretty easy to like, you know, let the AI kind of help you build your vehicle out. Cool. I guess that goes the same for home construction, all that shit too. How fun. If only the nukes don't fall, right? We're okay.
Yeah, just keep it going a little bit longer.
Do you think that whole Prigozhin thing really fucked them up bad? I mean, to start with, before they even decided to get crazy up into Ukraine, you know?
What, your Prigozhin were marching on Moscow, you think was a big deal?
Do that, then Wagner would be wrong, right? But how would you possibly plant a Prigozhin in the sauce? That would be incredible.
That's the thing. I just don't think those things are constructed. I think you rely on, like, to be the emperor, you must rely on other generals. And all of those generals are little proto-emperors. They all have a moment where they march on Rome. And you just need to try and keep them either happy enough or weak enough that they never do it. That to me just seems like what would happen in chaos. How could it be orchestrated?
He's
You
a
know,
chef.
orchestrated, you've got to have that happening. Well, that's true.
Prigozhin was like
He's a chef.
He was a cook, though. He was a cook that became that guy. He was Putin's favorite restaurant to go to, right?
Yes, I did hear that.
How do you ascend from head chef to like Wagner military mercenary group leaders, super czar? How do you? I don't know. And he did it without AI, dude. That's amazing.
Untamed,